My name is Mark DeMeo. I am the Program Director for Ascend 2.0, which encompasses both our BruinBuy Plus implementation as well as our Oracle Financials implementation. We really are glad that you've been able to join us, and hopefully today will be the first of several informative sessions that we're going to do between now and when we take BruinBuy Plus live. On to the next slide, please, if you will. Really quickly want to just talk a little bit about our agenda today. We've got a couple of really important topics to talk to you. Talk about our P2P Transformation Overview and how BruinBuy Plus will fit into that. We're actually going to do a hands-on demonstration of BruinBuy Plus. And also, I have my able assistants here, Janelle Vinci and Alexi Lee, who are actually going to take us through sort of scenarios and demos and everything. So we're really excited to have them here and really appreciate the time that they're spending. We will also have time for Q&A. Answering your questions is very important to us. We are monitoring the Q&A, and then we'll either answer them through the Q&A chat, or we'll have time to actually answer them in real time. Please be reminded to submit those in through the chat and through the Q&A. That way we can monitor them as well. Also, after this is over, we will publish the recording and we will publish all of the responses from the Q&A as well. Next slide, please. Some basics about transformation. Just a brief introduction to our new tools and why we chose it here for UCLA. And so what is BruinBuy Plus? Those of you that are familiar with Disney Plus, it's not exact, or ESPN Plus, it's not exactly that, but it is a new procurement platform and a new set of tools that are powered by a software product called Jagger, which will be set up to reflect our business processes. And we're going to do that in 2 releases, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. Really, the tenets of this is to provide better visibility, better consistency across all of UCLA for those of us that buy goods, source goods, and have to pay pay for them. We will be automating and integrating shopping, ordering, receiving, and invoice management. There will be a lot more visibility and a lot more capability to be able to understand the whole procurement cycle and where items and goods sit in that. And why are we doing this? We've heard, there's an old adage, we do, that our current tools are very antiquated. They are becoming hard to support. We also know that they do not provide sufficient visibility and sufficient functionality to manage our business in the 21st century. We are the #1 public university in the United States, and we need to have tools and processes that actually help us do business and to streamline things and make it actually easier for us. We chose Jagger because it is a leading procurement to pay solution in higher education. Several of the UCs use it, as well as many academic institutions of higher education across the United States have implemented. So it is tailored very well for our needs as a university. And we're really excited to have it as a platform. Next slide. Talk a little bit about the roadmap and where we are. We've spent a lot of time looking at our business processes. We've looked at where our current shortcomings are, where we have issues, where we have bottlenecks, where we have areas where we can't find data or we can't find information. And we've basically spent time designing ourselves a solution. We've actually built it and we're configuring it, and now we're at the testing phase. So we've been doing internal system testing to make sure all of the pieces of Jagger integrate with our current financial systems, as well as prepare ourselves for Oracle in the future. We're actually building integrations back to our identity management systems so that people have the appropriate access to Jagger. And we are building the other systems integrations right now to things like encumbrances so that we make sure we maintain our financial controls. So really, we're in the process of testing out the solution. Very soon, we'll be starting end user acceptance testing, which means we have representatives from all the schools and units that will actually test the system for us in real time prior to us going live, to make sure that everything that we've laid out, to make sure that everything works, and to find problems and issues, which there always are. And hopefully we can get those faster and more effectively by having folks from the schools and units. So for all of you or any of you that are on right now who are going to be part of that acceptance test community, we really appreciate your help, and we thank you very, very much for your participation. We know it is never a good time to do that in a university setting, so really appreciate it. Then we will be training. We'll have various different types of training. We'll have on-demand, we'll have job aids, we'll have videos, we'll have e-learnings, and those will be tailored for the types of roles that each of you plays in using the system. From a go live perspective, we are planning on go live later this fall, and we're really, really excited. So that's where we are in the roadmap. We are in the testing process right now, and really, really appreciate it. Next slide, please. So I mentioned earlier, we're going to do this in 2 steps. So the first step, as I said, will come out in this fall, and we call it release 1. The second release will be coming when we implement Oracle. So there's a question, I think, here in the chat about the relationship between Jagger and Oracle Financial. So I'll talk about that here in a second. The first release is really to get the tool implemented and give our user community the ability to learn it and to get comfortable with it, and to provide some short-term relief to some of the procurement issues that we have on campus right now. The business processes that we have that we're currently using in terms of workflows and approvals and roles and how people use it will be the same that we have now. The key difference is a lot of the centralized approval workflows will be automated. So you will find that data will flow through in a much more friendly, easy to use way. Also, the user interface is more friendly. It's different, but in a lot of feedback we're getting, it's more friendly than our current BruinBuy system. We'll also be able to communicate in BruinBuy Plus. So if there is an issue with a purchase order or an issue with a requisition, we'll be able to communicate much faster and effectively through the use of BruinBuy Plus, and the Jagger tool set. The other thing also is we'll be able to be a lot smarter and a lot more educated about how we're spending money. So we'll be able to reduce out-of-contract spend, which has consequences all the way from the beginning of the procurement cycle all the way through payments. Look for opportunities where we can actually use a contract to get a better price or to get a good or services procured and purchased faster. And then also make sure that we can classify and track small business information very, very quickly. Release 2 is, adds additional functionality. It also adds the new chart of accounts to the mix. Jagger and Oracle will be integrated together. They will talk the same financial language. So the common chart of accounts that many of you here have been involved in or have helped in mapping those potentially, that'll become the new language that we use for procurement. Also, what we'll be able to do is enhance and improve automation and workflow. So right now we are limited by the roles that exist in our current security systems, PACS and DACS. Going forward, we'll be able to have a lot more granular, a lot more flexible, a lot more configurable workflows for the schools and units. Something that we heard the other day in the Ascend or the Oracle Roadshow is, the ability to have somebody, put together a procurement, at a lower level, but then also have somebody approve at a slightly higher level in a school, which would make life a lot easier for people. We'll be able to configure that in Jagger and in BruinBuy Plus when we come with release 2. Also, we'll be expanding after go live the access that all 40,000 faculty and staff, if necessary, will be able to request purchases. It won't have to just be funneled through 1 or 2 people if your unit or school desires us to do that. Also, with the enhanced reporting capabilities, we'll be able to track budgets, status of procurement, status of invoices, and be able to provide better compliance information. So there's a lot of win-wins across both these releases. So as I said, Jagger is a tool that is being used for BruinBuy. It will integrate to Oracle. So we will pass financial information back and forth between Oracle financials. So encumbrance and budget amounts will be updated based on, and that'll be done on a periodic basis. Normally it's near real time. So the 2 systems will stay in record. So also access and providing those roles will align with the financial roles that we have currently, so that we won't have two different sets of roles for our users. That's a little bit about the releases and the difference in the functionalities. Let's go ahead and move on. So I'd like to introduce Janelle to you all. I think you're all familiar with Janelle. She's going to talk a little bit about the benefits of BruinBuy, and Janelle and Alexi are going to talk to us a little bit about actually what's it going to be like for us out as users. So appreciate the time, and Janelle and Alexi, welcome.
Thanks, Mark. Hey, Alexi, have you heard the big news? BruinBuy is getting replaced with a modern P2P system they are calling BruinBuy Plus. Do you think it'll be like Disney Plus?
Hey, Janelle. Yes, I heard in a recent town hall that BruinBuy Plus is coming in October. I hope it's going to be an improvement over BruinBuy. It's been quite challenging navigating BruinBuy for someone who's new to the university like me.
Yes, I hear it will be more automated, efficient, and intuitive. So shopping within the catalogs will be like shopping from the supplier's website. And you can filter by categories like unit of measure, sustainable products, or product availability.
Wow, that sounds great. So in BruinBuy, I really struggle to understand what's happening with my order. If an order's been returned to me, it's never notified. I hope BruinBuy Plus can improve upon this.
So a little birdie told me there's going to be a chat-like feature in BruinBuy Plus called Comments, where various parties can communicate and send attachments. It then saves it to the purchase requisition, the PO, or invoice, depending on where the chat originated.
No way. This is like life-changing. Now we don't have to email outside the system and wonder what's going on. Do you know how I can actually see the purchase order and invoices? As a requisitioner, I always want to know what's happening to my transaction.
Yes. Someone told me that you can go into BruinBuy Plus and see in real time where your purchase requisition and invoice are. How cool is that? So if it is pending approval with various business units like environmental health and safety, tax services, or risk management, you will be able to actually see that it's pending their review and or approval.
That sounds too good to be true. What about if, say, I want to see how many transactions my department has spent within the last month on a specific FAU? Or can I see invoices that have come in against my PO and are pending payment? I bet BruinBuy Plus can't do that.
Well, Alexi, if I was a betting woman, I would take that bet. Better believe BruinBuy Plus can do all of that. BruinBuy Plus will have dashboards that highlight in one screen real-time information on requisitions, purchase orders, and invoices you have authorization to view. Also, in BruinBuy Plus, you can easily self-report to find how much you have spent within any given time period on orders per supplier or even FAU.
That's amazing. I cannot believe what I'm hearing. What about this? Can BruinBuy Plus guide me with instructions, policies, and attachments necessary for my order?
Alexi, I'm about to knock your socks off. Yes, yes, it can. BruinBuy Plus has been designed with self-guided buying instructions per form that will walk you through attachments and information needed based upon how you answered the questions within that form.
So let's say I have an order for a piece of equipment over $100,000. You're saying this form will tell me what I need to submit?
You better believe it will. You will know exactly what you need to complete, like small business first and source selection, so you no longer have to go in blind.
Wow, that's going to be very helpful for the campus. This will really help us submit our requisitions properly and prevent it from being returned, and avoid that back and forth with purchasing and accounts payable.
Yes, automation, workflows, improved technology, and these intuitive forms should certainly help with improving process cycling time.
Thanks.
Now that we have a better understanding of some of the benefits and features of BruinBuy Plus, let's take a moment to discuss some of the shopping and ordering activities that we can do. Shopping from a catalog is going to look a lot different in BruinBuy Plus. Shoppers will have access to 36 different catalogs. There will be a variety of hosted and punch-out catalogs to choose from, some even having special features like live pricing and product availability.
What about non-catalogs? It has always been challenging getting all the right information on a requisition in BruinBuy.
Well, in BruinBuy Plus, we have created multiple different purchase request forms to guide users through the request process and clearly define what information is required. I cannot say enough about our new system. We can even approve purchase requests directly in the system. There is no longer a need to send emails requesting approval. Yes, Alexi, this means you no longer have to email EH&S for approval. It is all done within the system.
That sounds amazing. Are you telling me that I, as a campus buyer, will be able to go into BruinBuy Plus and check the status of my requests? No more emailing, waiting for updates from purchasing?
Yes, Alexi, that is absolutely correct.
That's amazing. So Janelle, let me ask you, what happens when my requisition, or also known as a request to purchase, is approved and turned into a purchase order?
Excellent question. I look forward to chatting with you about that more when we get into the invoice process. But first, I will tell you that we have the option to mark orders as received in BruinBuy Plus.
What does that mean? Do I have to do it now?
Don't worry, Alexi. Similar to today, this won't be a required feature for everyone, but there are some departments that like to use the receiving feature to confirm that they are receiving the correct quantity and quality of their orders before payment.
Janelle, thanks for making me an expert on shopping and ordering. Now, let's talk money. And by money, obviously, I mean invoices and payment. What can BruinBuy Plus tell me about the status of my invoice?
Alexi, you are going to love this. We are able to use BruinBuy Plus to see if an invoice has been submitted against your purchase order, if that invoice has been approved by AP or any other approving offices, and also see payment information if the invoice has been paid. And the best part is, drum roll, you never have to email AP to ask for an update.
Are you telling me that my days of emailing AP for status updates are almost in the rearview mirror? That's amazing.
It gets better. We've also created a form called the Direct Pay form. That will allow us to process invoices that do not require a purchase order, such as honorarium, memberships, subscriptions, and utility payments.
That sounds great. The order class alphabet soup has always eluded me. Is there a way for me to tell what my team is doing or the rest of the department?
Yes, BruinBuy Plus has lots of reports that can be run to give us informed views of the status of invoices, and you can see your whole department's list of invoices.
I didn't think it was possible, but I think I'm even more excited than ever before.
Okay, Alexi, the moment we have all been waiting for has finally arrived. Are you ready to see a demonstration of BruinBuy Plus?
I thought you'd never ask. After the video, we'll have a question for our audience. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Hello, and welcome to the BruinBuy Plus e-procurement overview. Today, we will be providing an overview of the e-procurement module within BruinBuy Plus and showing you how easy it is to purchase from a hosted or a punch-out catalog. Let's get started. As you can see, I am already logged into the BruinBuy Plus application. This is the BruinBuy Plus homepage. This is where you will see all of your various shopping widgets that will allow you to make requests and purchases, as well as track those purchases and see any important updates from UCLA as provided. We will discuss this in more detail in a future webinar. The shopping widget allows you to search for items you wish to purchase. This search can be done by entering in various keywords for items, vendors, and even forms. The results you see here are your hosted catalog items. These are items that are provided by the vendor, allowing you to purchase right within the BruinBuy Plus application. It's as easy as clicking on the Add to Cart button. Now, if you'd like to narrow down your keyword search, let's say by product, then here in the by product flag section, you will find categories in which results in your keyword search can be narrowed down. In particular, you can filter for green products by using the green flag. Now, all of the paper that you see is also flagged as green. Now that you have narrowed your search a bit, you can also use the compare feature to compare prices for a specific product or service. In order to compare pricing on items, click the Add Item to Compare icon for each item that you would like to see in your comparison. You can compare up to 4 items at once. You can also select items by vendor, by category, and other options as you see fit. Now, let's say that you wanted to include additional parameters to help narrow your search. Click on the Advanced tab. You'll see that you can find results that match keywords or system values within any fields you enter in below. You can even enter words that you want excluded from the search. And that Advanced Search tab is also available on the home page. And finally, you can favorite items that you purchase regularly by clicking the heart next to any item and saving them into a new or created folder. Now let's navigate back to the home page. The Showcases widget houses alternative methods that you can purchase items, such as via a punch-out supplier or by form requests. The punch-out suppliers section contains UCLA's preferred suppliers with punch-out catalogs, allows you to see which punch-out suppliers have been listed on your homepage for selection. You can click on a supplier and that will navigate you to an external site where you can purchase the supplier's items. The form request sections are UCLA custom-built templates that help guide your purchasing needs. For example, if you're looking to buy an item that you cannot find in your punch-out supplier's catalog or in your product search, you would want to use the purchase request form. The My Draft Cart widget shows you all the carts you have not submitted or are assigned to you. Click on the filter icon to narrow down your results. Click on the cart number to continue working on a cart. In the My Purchase Orders widget, you can see all of your purchase orders, including their existing statuses. You can access your purchase orders by clicking on them. The Action Items widget allows you to see any pending to-dos that you need to complete. For example, if you've submitted a requisition and it has been returned to you by an approver, you can find your returned requisitions link within this widget. The UCLA Message widget contains information for you from your procurement team. You can also expect to find supplier updates, additions, or new information provided by UCLA in the future. And finally, the Quick Links widget contains URLs to important applications outside of BruinBuy Plus. This concludes the overview of BruinBuy Plus's new e-procurement application. We look forward to completing the checkout process with you in a future demonstration. Thank you for watching, and please visit ascend.ucla.edu for more videos.
Thanks, Janelle. That was a great video. Now, before we jump into our Q&A session, we have a quick question for our audience.
We
So
hope
let-
that you
Let us know
enjoyed
what
our.
you would like to see in the next Procurement Roadshow. I'm sorry, Janelle, go for it.
You're good. We hope that you enjoyed our demonstration and we'll come back for more roadshows in the future. Please take a moment to let us know, yes, what you would like to see in the future.
Very good. Janelle and Lexi, thank you so very much. You've done a wonderful job, and it was really, really exciting to see, what we can expect going forward. And to all of you, thank you so much for the questions. We've gotten several of them we've answered through the chat, but we do have some open questions. So I'm going to go ahead and moderate those, and I'll direct us. Hopefully we'll be able to answer. If there isn't something we can answer here, we will take it and we'll get back and update our FAQs at the end of this. Mary asked a question: with the chart of accounts structure not rolling out until release 2, then will departments be tracking expenditures both by FAU and COA? Will FAU expenses be migrated in the meantime to their corresponding COA values behind the scenes? basically how will purchases be tracked until everything is migrated? That's a great question. Janelle, do you want to take that one, or would you like me to try to?
I can touch to some of it. So when we roll out R1, right, BruinBuy Plus, it will have the FAU. And I think, Mary, what you're asking is when R2 comes along, are you going to have to kind of remember, okay, if I'm looking under these accounts, FAU started and ended on this date, COA started and ended on this date. I don't know 100%, and I don't know if there will be a migration to marry them up. I don't know, Mark, do you know that?
Yes, I do. And Janelle, I'll take that one. So it's a great question. So in general, for all data, we will be migrating and converting all, since we're going live in the middle of a fiscal year, we will be bringing all of the detailed open transactions, and we will convert them and map them to the chart of accounts values, so that when we go live with BruinBuy Plus Release 2 and Oracle, in the late fall, early winter of 23 of the following year, all of that will be converted into the new chart of account structure. So we won't have to be bouncing back and forth between the two. The only time you might have to do any mapping is if there are certain open items from, say, 5 or 10 years ago that didn't get converted. For example, we may have to go back and forth between two, but we're also working on ways from a reporting perspective to combine and migrate that all for you. So hopefully that answers the question. And thanks, Mary, for asking it. Aaron has a question. Can we flag certain invoices to ask BruinBuy Plus to email us when that invoice is paid, so we don't have to go back into BruinBuy Plus to check this?
So I can take this one. So you can't flag certain emails, but you certainly can set on notifications in your profile to receive an email notification if an invoice has been paid, or to find a status if a status has changed.
Thank you, Janelle. So Ricky asked the question, will we have adequate filters on the order search feature to make sure we don't get bogged down in large lists of orders from the entire department when we only need to find specific orders or types of orders?
I'm going to assume this means you're looking to find an order that maybe you've done or you have permission to view. So you will have viewable access based off of what your DAX permissions given you. So you can search through those orders and you can filter by supplier, by date. There are quite a list of filtering selections to both invoice, requisition, and PO.
Also, Ricky, when we get to release 2 and we start to take a look at roles that are based on the new chart of accounts, we can further define those potentially to get down to a smaller list. So if you want to look at it by, say you're a researcher and you've got multiple procurements by a certain research project, there are potentially ways to configure that so we can reduce it. So that would be an R2 functionality that we would look to implement. Alina asked the question, can supervisors add student users or users able to add vendors? Can BruinBuy be grouped within each department? Sim, you would like to answer that? Or did he hit the button by mistake? I think, Janelle, that's probably a better question for you.
Sure, I can take it. So going forward, vendors will be added now internally by vendor management. If it's a new vendor, there is a little button that's going to be in BruinBuy Plus. If you're not able to find your vendor, you'll push this button, give us some information, and we'll have automated workflow to then route that over to vendor management. Vendor management will then send out the invite and onboard the vendor and payment works.
Very good. Thank you, Janelle. Let's see. Mark asks a question. If you mark an item as received on June 30th, will BruinBuy Plus automatically accrue the expense on the ledger? If you have a service tagged in BruinBuy Plus with a service date of June, May, will it automatically defer 11/12 of the expense?
That's a great question, and we may have to take that one back, Mark, and get the specifics for you.
Which we will. Thank you, Mark, for the question. Jocelyn asks, will we also be able to submit subaward invoices for payment on this system?
Yes, subaward invoices are included in BruinBuy Plus. There's going to be a form for subawards. There'll be a form for research subcontracts to create them and then receiving the invoices so that they can get paid against those POs. Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Gladys, ask the question, is it true that P card transactions will now be on Concur instead of expenses being auto-populated on BruinBuy Plus for PO?
I don't know if there's a P card on here, but yes, the answer to that is yes. I believe that a pilot is rolling out right now, and that transition will happen before we go live with BruinBuy Plus.
Thank you. These are great questions and we really appreciate them. Laura asks, will the new direct pay feature for honorariums and one-time payments require receipts to register via PaymentWorks?
So in BruinBuy Plus, if you're going to transact in BruinBuy Plus, whatever they are, whether they're an individual or a vendor, they will need to be onboarded in PaymentWorks for us to leverage that in BruinBuy Plus.
Okay, Tensia, I'm sorry, asked the question, if I need to use our FAU, well, these are bouncing around, sorry. If I need to use our FAU to purchase from UC Davis, how do I do this? Is that a BruinBuy question or is that an operational question that?
I'm not so sure on that one.
Yep, that one we're going to have to follow up on. Where would we go to process reimbursements or payments for invoices? Michelle asked this.
Sure. So reimbursements is going to transition over to Concur, and payments for invoices. I'm assuming that you have an after the fact. And Michelle, if we're wrong, please put this back into the Q&A. If you have an invoice for something that's been transacted after the fact, goods and services have been rendered, we do have a form in BruinBuy Plus for after the facts. It's against policy, just so you know, and we have a lot of parameters and requirements and approvals around that, but we will allow you to be able to process invoices that just need to get paid.
Hey, very good, thank you. Will non-BruinBuy Plus users be able to browse catalog items?
In R1, no.
For R2, yes, because we will set up roles, with that specific functionality enabled. Aaron asked another question. When we check invoice status, there's a one-letter code which is cryptic for those of us that don't use BruinBuy regularly. Would it be possible to build in a function where you can hover your cursor over codes to get info on them?
I'm going to kick this one to you, John.
Yeah, so invoice statuses will be in BruinBuy Plus will be more robust, so to speak, not limited to one letter code. So you will see payment information and the status of it, whether it's payable, in status, or in progress. So it'll be much more descriptive.
Thanks, John. Stacy asked, will P-card Concur order generation training be scheduled the same time as R1 training?
That I'm not 100% sure on.
Yeah, also, I know in the chat there is a Concur expansion website that we will publish the link to that will give you some more specific information about Concur, but we'll take a look and see what their schedules are and identify if there is a lineup between them. There's been a demo of catalog orders, Rebecca says, but my department mainly does special request non-catalog. When will we get a demo on some of those other requests I see on BruinBuy Plus?
Yes, that's going to happen at our next roadshow. So more to come.
Which right now we're targeting for early August, if I remember rightly. Willie asks, other faculty and staff ask for vendors who offer particular service. Will BruinBuy Plus allow users to search existing vendors based on the services they provide, like catering or photography, etc.?
No, I don't think so. I think BruinBuy Plus, when you're in there, it doesn't really break down what that vendor is. It just gives you the vendor's name. You can search by keyword off of orders that you're allowed to see. So you could put like a, food delivery company or something. And if that keyword attracts or finds something, it might populate vendors for you. But the vendors themselves don't break down by the type of like good or commodity that they provide.
We're not getting that information from PaymentWorks, which is what is kind of prohibits us from doing it in BruinBuy Plus.
Robin asks, for blanket POs, would there be a way in BruinBuy Plus to send us a notification when the PO is close to being exhausted? Good question.
Alexi, I see you want to answer that. You want to take it?
Well, I was typing, but yes, blanket
Oh, sorry,
PO.
Alexi. Sorry about that, man.
Not a problem. So blanket PO in its current state is no longer going to exist. But there will be functionality that mimics a blanket PO. And to answer your question, yes, there will be a notification available when a PO is close to being exhausted.
Let's see. Michelle will say, when will we be informed or contacted by AP when there's an issue with a PO?
There will be a notification message. There is a robust notification messaging system within BruinBuy Plus where AP can notify PO owners of an issue with a PO. It can live within BruinBuy Plus itself, or we have the option of notifying the PO owner through email that a message has come through for a particular PO, and to let the user know if they're not within BruinBuy on a day-to-day basis that a message has come through for them to follow up on.
Okay, a couple of other questions that have come in. Where would we go to process reimbursements or payments for invoices?
I think we took that one.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
Let's see. Well, John asks, will I be able to review an invoice before it gets paid?
Yes, there will be a review process. It'll go through a review workflow for when AP processes an invoice, or when an invoice comes into BruinBuy Plus. It will go to departments for approval when it's been processed.
Laura asks, will sister UC campuses be awarded in the new subaward invoicing system? Right now, since there are other UC campuses, they invoice and get paid automatically without the department seeing or approving the invoices first.
I'm not even 100% sure I understand that. I mean, this process is very specific to UCLA. We're not, I mean, if somebody else, some outside entity, any outside entity needs to send us an invoice, they certainly can. But with I don't know if it's talking about linking systems. I mean, this doesn't link to other UC systems. Again, I'm not 100% sure I understand that question.
So there's a question that's come in about small businesses. Is there an ability to search in BruinBuy Plus on small business information?
There is the ability to search vendors that are identified through PaymentWorks as small businesses. There will be a little icon next to the supplier's name, basically indicating that they are a small business. That will be about as much as you'll get if you're talking about the small business first information. We have a lot of that information on our purchasing website.
Thank you. Virginia asks a question, also says, thank you. I appreciate the information provided today for BruinBuy Plus. You're most welcome, Virginia. Follow-up question is, can you please speak more to the examples for direct pay form and when it is required?
Do you want to take that one, John?
I'm sorry, I was monitoring the chat. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Sure. Can you please speak more to the examples for a direct pay form and when it is required?
Yeah, so direct pay forms are right now built to process certain payments such as honorariums, human subject payments, memberships, subscriptions, utility payments, just to name a few. The direct pay form is basically used to replace, for the most part, our X-class order, our X-class orders, where the PO is basically, in current state, the PO is just created mainly as a payment vehicle, where, you know, we don't, for utilities, for example, right, we don't necessarily send a PO to our utility vendors, right? We get the bill, we need a PO for it. In current state, you guys create a PO for it, and that's the payment vehicle for us to process the invoice against. In BruinBuy Plus, that won't be the case anymore. You wouldn't need to create a purchase order for that type of expense. You would fill out the direct pay form to get that bill to us. Same goes for human subjects and honorariums, etc. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Justin asks, in the P2P webinar last week, they mentioned that one-time payees will be phased out and all payees will need to re-register as vendors, including one-time payee, such as guest lecturers. Is that true or finalized? And if so, will the vendor onboarding system be streamlined so simple payments like guest lecturers are not bogged down?
That is true. We are looking to have a form go live in PaymentWorks come fall. That is a more streamlined form. So if you're not a genuine vendor in the sense of providing goods and services, but someone such as a guest lecturer, this form will be much more minimal. We are having, again, our department is going to now help and own the onboarding process, so we can offer a white glove kind of service to them. But this reduced questionnaire that will come in PaymentWorks in fall should certainly help.
Thank you, Janelle. Jolene asks, will we still need to upload invoices to a separate portal?
I believe that will be done directly into BruinBuy Plus. We are exploring ways in which departments can submit invoices directly into BruinBuy Plus. So once more details on that, film at 11, I guess.
Phelan asks, will the new system be able to grant receiving access only so the lab staff can receive items in the system? Ideally, they will have read-only access to check status, but also can receive items.
In R1, no, you'll have to have a BruinBuy Plus login. Receiving is not required, also remember, but in R2, this can be functionality that we will have.
Yes. Will there be functionality to search all current vendors by type, catering, transcription, for example? In the current system, we can't do that and have to ask around to see who's an established vendor.
Not really. I mean, I kind of touched on how you can search, but BruinBuy Plus really doesn't give us that ability to say this vendor does X, Y, and Z. And I hear this is definitely a big ask and something campus definitely has interest in. But for the go live, no, we don't really have that.
Leighton asks, will there be any changes to the way refund requests are processed?
Go ahead, John, I'll let you take that
one. I'm sorry, Mark. Can you repeat the question?
Will there be any changes to the way the refund requests are processed?
I think for the most part, it will be, the two big changes are, if you're processing a refund, the vendor will, or the individual that you're refunding to will need to be onboarded as a supplier in BruinBuy, in PaymentWorks. And also you would, instead of doing an X-class order, you would fill out the direct pay form, which shows the and choose the refund option. And then if you choose the refund option, there will be a set of questions and requirements that we will ask of you, such as like a business justification or an option, put in an optional attachment to justify the refund. And then you would send it on its merry way for AP to process.
Very good. Shelley asks, will BruinBuy Plus be for FY 23-24 orders?
Given we're anticipating going live at the end of this year. Yes, right? 2023.
Very good. When can we begin processing non-T&E employee reimbursements through Concur? I would actually refer you to the Concur website for an answer to that question. The original requester processor is separated. Who will be notified?
Oh, separated as in no longer at the UC or no longer at UCLA.
Yeah, at UCLA, right.
Oh, got it. Their profile will then get closed, so they won't have anything running in BruinBuy Plus. I know that there should be a way from an administrative side within procurement that we can recognize, okay, if there's any transactions pending before somebody's profile gets closed, if they have an invoice or requisition or anything like that, we can go through, see what's in there, and then contact the department to see who we need to forward it to. If there's an action that needs to happen. But if they're just getting notifications when their email address dies once they leave, they won't clearly be getting notifications anymore. I hope that answered the question.
Will foreign wire transfer requests be handled through BruinBuy Plus?
Yes, they will.
Okay. All right, we talked about the approved vendor. Will there be reporting features to allow us to search by FAU in release 1 and then COA in release 2?
I believe that is the plan. Yeah, for sure. With release 1, you'll be able to run reports against the FAU. And then when we transition over to the chart of counts, that should also happen.
Yes. If a PO is established and sent to a vendor upload invoice through Transept, does this process remain the same? Now, I think we touched on that they would be submitting directly to BruinBuy Plus, and we're finalizing that.
Yeah, it would be through the digital capture feature within BruinBuy Plus.
Will the new staff training on BruinBuy be updated to be compatible with BruinBuy Plus?
Oh yeah, we're going to have all new training material to talk about functionality, features, and how to use BruinBuy Plus. Absolutely.
So how different will the change order process be in BruinBuy Plus, if any?
Great question. It's still going to have change order functionality. You'll be able to pull up your purchase order and indicate the change directly on that area of what you want to have changed, whether it's the FAU, funding, scope, adding lines, and then it will route over to purchasing for approval. So it will all be contained within that same document, the original PO. You'll be able to see the revisions against it.
Excellent. Justin asked, to clarify, it sounds like Concur is going to be expanded to include other processes such as general reimbursements instead of just travel and entertainment. Is that correct? If so, are there other functions that Concur will be adopting that were previously in BruinBuy?
We don't know. That would be the Concur folks.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is take just as a commentary, Janelle. I think we probably should get with. There's been a number of questions about Concur, so we will pass these questions on over to the Concur team and make sure that we get them answered for you.
That'd be great.
In the next presentation, could you go over the R2 roles available? Not necessarily in the next presentation, but one subsequently. Reason being is that a lot of that is being built in concert with the Oracle implementation. So we will be working and finalizing those over the fall. So we'll probably have more to talk about that in not the next town hall, but the town hall after that. So stay tuned, but we will get to it. And thank you for the question. When assigning substitute approvers, do they get some type of email or notification, or is it up to the assignee to notify?
Good question, Chris. So in BruinBuy Plus, you can assign a substitute approver if you know you're going to be out, you have a plan to leave. They then will have in their profile permissions that they can turn on to also receive emails or notifications when something is now pending their approval based off of that being the substitute approver, right? Because they're an approver, they still have that approval role with those permissions. So yes, they would get a notification.
Very good. Claudia asked a question. R1 is for viewing access only. No, that's not true. There is a view access, but the roles that we have currently and that you all have currently will be mapped, and it is a fully functioning procurement solution at that point, is R1. If I'm interpreting the question right, sorry about that. For future state, are we looking at using credit cards more, or will we be sticking with POs primarily? Thinking of.
That's a good question, Mike. I know we're going to continue the business process. I know that the P card group is certainly looking to see and seek out ways in which they can continue to grow and expand that P card program.
Carrie asks, will the training be instructor-led or just by video?
Is there someone from OCM on here?
Dan, can you answer that question, please?
Is on mute, trying to find the mute button. Yes, training will be both instructor-led and what we call on demand. So to use technical terms, synchronous and asynchronous, we'll have plenty of opportunities for folks to learn. Had that discussion this morning.
Okay, we've got about 3 more minutes, so we're just going to take a couple more here, and then we're going to wrap up. All of the questions, however, will be captured, and we will get answers back to you. Kathy asks, if we have existing blanket approvals, can we create release orders in the future based on those agreements?
So the concept of blankets and releases against blankets is going to change in BruinBuy Plus. And as we go through the training, that's going to be coming not too far away. We're going to talk to you on what that process looks like.
Excellent, thank you. Feline asked another question. Can you clarify, for BruinBuy Plus, does a department approver need to approve the PO first before the PO is created or active? Currently in BruinBuy, it's just a post notification.
Good question. So in BruinBuy Plus, the BruinBuy requisitioner, a BruinBuy Plus requisitioner, based off of their DAX limits, will be able to create orders within their DAX limit. If it's over their DAX limit, it will return that order as it's not approved. If it requires purchasing's approval, it will then route to purchasing for processing approval. If it has to go to EH&S from there, it will continue to route through whatever work streams it needs to for approval. Purchasing will be the final step. Once purchasing approves that, it will become a purchase order, and then it will send automatically to the vendor.
Excellent, thank you. Just to confirm, Anna asks, just to confirm, only one approver can be assigned to a given purchaser. Why not multiple? And at the department level, we manage approver level based on need.
Anna, we may have to reach out for a little bit more clarity on that one.
And I think that's flexibility in roles, which will come in release 2. So the answer is yeah, but we want to find out more about what you mean there. So we'll reach out. Let's see. Just time for a couple more. We said we can configure the system. Anna, Aaron followed up. Well, that question just disappeared. Sorry. I guess it got answered. Ricky asked, if departments are able to submit sub-award invoices directly to BruinBuy Plus to make a payment, will the process be the same for foreign wire transfers, or we will still need to submit a separate request for wire transfer to pay the foreign subrecipient?
Good question, Ricky. Sorry if your question got lost. We are ironing out, literally as we speak, the final details of the wire process. So once we have all of that concluded, we can let you know what exactly from a process standpoint that looks like.
So Aaron asked the question, we are currently clearing unpaid invoices off the H&I list. The problem is most of those don't have FAUs listed for them, so we don't know which PO belongs to whom. We were told that happens when the PO is closed. Can this be changed so that information is not lost when the PO is closed?
Yes, absolutely. So Aaron, when a PO gets closed in BruinBuy Plus, everything that was in there, you'll still be able to see. It won't auto delete or anything like that. You'll still be able to pull it up. You'll still be able to see all the attachments, the original change, and any changes against it. So yes, you will have all that information.
So where do we order food? BruinBuy Plus or Concur?
We need a little more information because the process can depend.
Yeah, food for dining, or is it food for entertainment, like catering for events?
So how about, John, if I split it into 2 questions? How about we tackle food for dining first, and then we'll talk about catering?
Yeah, so food for dining, that will still be done. We're currently working with dining services to iron out the process for them in terms of how they submit their food invoices. But for the if we're paying an entertainment cost for, let's say, lunch or dinner for an event, and we're paying a vendor for it, that would go through BruinBuy Plus, and those payments are reviewed and processed by travel accounting, as they do now.
Excellent. Thank you, John, for answering that. And everybody, thank you so much for all the great questions. We've run out of time, and out of respect for your time, we're going to end it now. Let's go ahead and wrap up. Rest assured, any of the questions that are open have been captured and that we will answer them. We have many ways to get involved and to stay tuned and be informed. Janelle, you want to talk to a little bit about some of these? And
Absolutely. We have an Ascend website you can go to get most current up-to-date information. We have an Ascend newsletter that comes out the 3rd week of every month. Campus purchasing and payables newsletter also comes out the 1st week of every month. And then, as you know, we have our recurring P2P hot topic webinars that are the 2nd Wednesday of every month. So we hope you can find us in one of these avenues.
Excellent. Thank you so very much for attending today. We really appreciate the time. We know your time is valuable and that you're all super busy. Stay tuned. We have at our next town halls and subsequent ones, we'll be able to show you more of BruinBuy Plus and what it's capable of doing. And if at any time you have any questions, please feel free to submit them to the Ascend 2.0 email box, as well as all the resources that Janelle just talked about. We really appreciate your time, and we wish you all a great and happy weekend.